Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. Excited to have this young man, entrepreneur, all around amazing human being, the one and only Stephen Sherbin on the show with us today. He's a realtor professional guru. He also works with HomeSale.Plus, which we'll talk about. He does a lot in the community. He runs a networking group, probably more than I ever know. I also happen to know he's a paintball aficionado. So we're going to talk about all of that. Welcome, my friend Stephen. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much. We got good lighting. It's been a crazy morning already. Stephen and I already did one Zoom. This one just happens to be for all of your pleasure out there in social media land. All right, before we went live, I said, the audience wants to know a little bit about you. So give them a little 411 on Stephen Sherbin II.
Okay. Well, I started my working career in actually restaurants. I was a cook training to be a chef for about 14 years. I had aspirations to be the next Gordon Ramsay or Thomas Keller or one of the very well-known, very high-end chefs that did really intricate things before I realized that it really wasn't the path that I was meant to go down. Decided I was going to go into sales, worked for my father in home care for 4 years, starting in sales and then running his business for him for a while. And then I took some time to figure out what it was that I loved, what direction I wanted to head with my life, who I was at my core. And through my long search of who I was, I realized that real estate is actually where I wanted to be, because everything that I was doing to try and make money, to try and invest, was eventually to become a real estate investor. And so the best option for me was to work in the industry in which I was aspiring to get into with my own investments. So that's when I got my real estate license back in March of 2023. And I've been a realtor ever since, and have since added a couple of the hats onto my head.
So I have lots of questions, obviously. First of all, you're in chefery, you're in cookery, you're in culinary, is the real word, for that long. What was the catalyst? What was it that made you go, all right, this isn't my lifelong dream. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. What did something happen? Was it just a long trail of things? You're like, yeah, this just doesn't add up. What was it? Share it, because I think a lot of people go through that, but they don't make the leap like you do, because they're like, well, I've already invested all of this time. I'm just going to stick it out. But you took the courageous route.
So it actually was a couple of different things that ended up causing that decision. To kind of backtrack and kind of give you a look into my mind at the time, I was studying. I was so passionate about food and I wanted to do such interesting things. I was studying what was called molecular gastronomy, which is essentially take science and food and make them have a baby together. And that's where you get oils that are turned into powders. That's where you take something called a miracle berry, which will, once you have it, anything that's sour will suddenly taste sweet. So you could eat a lemon while thinking that it tastes like candy. And
So
I was
cool.
working in a restaurant inside of the Wyndham Grand at Bonnet Creek, and the management changed. The new chef that came in, certain people will just want to implant their own people. So they will make the others want to leave. And that's what ended up happening, was that chef got me to the point where I wanted to leave. I tried a couple of other jobs after that to try and redevelop my passion. And it just wasn't taking quite as much. And I realized that while I was working with a lot of salespeople, because I was taking over the food that was coming in, I was doing the receiving for the restaurant. I realized that my bosses that I was trying to get to their level were actually making less money than the brand new salesperson that was coming in and trying to sell them
Wow.
on their food. And I realized the juice just wasn't worth the squeeze, pun intended. So I decided that, look, I would have the opportunity to meet people, which is, even though I'm an introvert, I do love to meet people. I do love to dig into their past, to understand them a little bit more, and to really connect with people in a way that I just couldn't as a cook. There was just not going to be an opportunity for that. But with sales, there was an opportunity there.
Sure. It's interesting. You say you're an introvert. I always see you as an extrovert, and I know that's the facade can be that way, but you obviously have worked at being as much of an extrovert as you can be as an introvert, because it's important to it's important to your growth and to your business. So I also want to know you realized that sales were where you wanted to be. Why real estate sales?
So real estate sales was because of where I wanted my investments. I had looked into stocks, I had looked into crypto, I had looked into NFTs to the point that I was even trying to develop my own system of determining what NFTs were legitimate and which ones were, as they said, going to have the rug pulled as soon as the money came in on that initial offering. Which, by the way, was the wild, wild west. It was not successful. I was not successful in that, but I was looking at laundromats. I was looking at car washes. I was looking at vending machine routes. But the path that I had laid out was all designed to eventually get me to be a real estate investor, to have my own rental properties, and to use that as my retirement instead of relying upon stocks and relying upon the market. I would have my own rental income so that I could work on the projects that were about passion instead of having to work for the dollars.
Love it. So it's one thing to say, okay, I want to do real estate. It's another thing to get into it. So what was your transition like? Because I think a lot of people, believe it or not, still to this day, they see Selling Sunset, or they see all these shows and they think, oh, it's all glamour, it's all glitz. But there's a lot of hard work that goes into it. So what was your transition like into real estate sales?
Like 80% of realtors, it was a struggle, because you have to understand that as you're coming in, you're not just coming in to do sales. You are coming in to start a business. And that is what you really have to understand, is you are starting a business. You have many hats that you have to take on. It's not just go meet a person, say, hey, I'm a realtor, and they hand you a listing and say, here, sell my house for me. No, it's building relationships. It's marketing before that. Then you build the relationships and sales. Then you have your customer service behind the scenes, your operations, your systems. You have to get your systems together. So for me, it was a struggle, just because it's a lot of work to get together all at once. And what I realized pretty quick was that even the best of brokerages, they have a lot of information. It's great what they're able to offer, but you need a little bit of help to focus and know what's important to learn right away and what's not important to learn right away. It's not that important to try and learn, okay, every single detail about VA loans at the very beginning. Start with how to connect with people, how to get your name out there, how to build those relationships, and to connect with other people. The first thing you got to do is connect with the person. Figure out how you're going to work with them afterwards. Start with building those connections.
You're amazing at that, by the way. I know firsthand. You're for being a self-admitted introvert. I feel like that is one of your best qualities, is being able to connect with people and make that connection and make people feel at ease. Um, Tell me how it was your first transaction. What was it like? And how did you determine what brokerage you're at? Because you're at Epic right now.
Mhm.
And I think there's a lot of people. Let me ask that question. We'll go back to the other one. A lot of people are fluid right now. If you're in real estate in general, you're trying to figure out your way. I think there's a lot, like, you get a lot of people asking me, Ted, where should I go? And I'm such a big believer in it's all about the connection, and then the benefits come. What's your experience like, and why are you at Epic?
So I started actually with EXP. When I got my license, I was fortunate enough to have a friend that was already in title in real estate. And she sat down with me. Her name is Ashley White. Uh,
I love
she,
her.
sat, she sat down with me and said, look, you need to figure out your big three. What are the three most important things to you that your brokerage can offer you? And that's how you decide where you're going to put or plant your flag. So for me at the time, it was I wanted them to have a good reputation. That was first and foremost. I didn't want to immediately develop a bad reputation or assume one from someone else. I needed training. I knew that. And I was looking for a team where they could help me at the beginning with getting some leads early on. So EXP, I started interviewing brokerages. I think I had 13 brokerages or teams that I had connected with at the beginning. And EXP was fantastic. I was a solo agent for 6 months and then 6 months on a team. A fantastic gentleman by the name of Tyler Gibson, who was really, really influential to me. He was kind of me 5 years down the road and with a little more courage, I will say, when it comes to starting conversations, because I'm an introvert and sometimes I get that social anxiety to go up to somebody and say hello. And he just doesn't seem to have that anymore. There's a book that he recommended to me that I'm actually still have on my list to read. But after connecting with him, I met Walter Key and Chris Raines and Robert Bean. And when they made the transition to Epic and they broke it down for me, how many transactions I was doing, what the finances looked like, and what their experience had already been with the culture of the people at Epic, it seemed like something that was kind of a no-brainer for me. I was going to improve my own financial situation, and at the same time, I was interested to see what they had experienced. And so far, it's been fantastic. Every time that I hear the CEO or the COO or any of the management team speak, whether it's privately or publicly, I can feel the level of care that they have for their agents, and I can feel that culture that they're building. And it's just something remarkable that I've found. And at the same time, it's been financially successful for me.
Good. I mean, I love Tyler Gibson. I also love Walt Key. Great human beings. And so I'm excited you found a home. I think that's what it's all about. You have to make the connection, and then you have to make sure that the benefits to you as a realtor, all you realtors who are fluid out there, who are always asking me where to go, you've got to find that connection, because you can have all the benefits in the world and not have the connection, and you're miserable, and vice versa. So, all right, but after all of that, then you add something to your arsenal. You add HomeSale.Plus. So talk a little bit about the why, and then tell us about HomeSale.Plus.
Well, like I alluded to earlier, it was a little bit of a struggle. My first year in real estate, I had probably, like a number of agents, had put more money on credit or more of my life on credit than I should have. And I knew I needed to rectify that. I needed to correct that in my own life. So I was seeking an opportunity where I could stay in real estate, but I could have income that was consistent with the opportunity for massive success, just like I did with real estate. I wanted to still have my real estate license available to be able to conduct business still. to sell homes, to help others buy homes. Um, I connected with a gentleman by the name of Marco Rodriguez. Uh, he owns Marvel Title and Escrow as well as partial owner of HomeSale.Plus. And we just hit it off. We connected. He had already told me about the platform. I was already interested about the platform. And he was able to open up a position for me here in Florida to connect with people, to help other agents, to help fix some of the challenges that we're seeing even more and more these days, where homes are sitting for a long time and those agents are trying to make sure that it doesn't go expired, that they are able to sell this home for as quickly as possible and for as much money as possible. And this platform allows me to help more people and more agents with the way that it's designed.
And so tell if an agent is interested in learning, like wants to work in the Home Sale Plus platform, what does that look like for them?
So it's pretty simple. To kind of give you an idea of what it looks like, your transaction stays the same. You are still the listing agent. You still are putting it onto the MLS. We just suggest a pricing strategy that's a little more aggressive. Instead of, like most agents, starting your price up here and then working backwards, going the wrong direction. We say start low. And there's agents that do this pretty regularly. They will start the listing low and they will allow for the buyers to get excited in that market that are already looking in that area to say, you know what, I need to see this house. It's at a great price. They come in, they see the home, they decide this is fantastic. I want to put an offer in. That's where the shift begins as far as your normal transaction. You would have in the realtor remarks, hey, we're accepting our offers on HomeSale.Plus. They come onto our platform, they register, make sure that they are a legitimate buyer with a pre-approval or proof of funds, and then they're able to see all of the offers currently on the table and that the offers are being accepted for 2 weeks. That's it. 14 days or less. They come on, they see the offers, they decide they're going to put in their offer. And then at the end of that 14 days, as the listing agent, you get together with your seller and you decide, okay, which offer is the best for us? And what we've found is that you will usually get about 100 showings in that 2 weeks. And I've seen that you'll probably get somewhere between 3 and 6 offers or unique buyers that are coming in and placing offers on that home. And the vast majority of the time, you're still getting that market price. That CMA that you originally did, you're still getting that price. You're just getting it in a much faster timeline. And we've seen quite a few times as well where it actually will go above that price. We've had people that had to add cash in order to make the property work because the price was above the appraisal.
Such a cool concept. It's almost like sort of like organized auction.
It is. The way that I describe it is the eBay of real estate.
I love it. But what's great about, because back in the day, if you don't remember, people, eBay used to be something where you bid. A lot of people just buy their stuff now on eBay and they don't go through the bid process. What's been the response with the realtors you're working with? Because I would imagine, because it's such an interesting concept, there's probably some, well, how does that actually work, Stephen? Have you had to spend a lot of your time educating?
Education is a big part of what I do. And especially with our local MLS, there's some unique things with it that we have worked out, the bugs that we've been fixing between the two. But it's very much about education, making sure that they understand how it goes, and making sure that we provide them the best opportunity to succeed. We offer to those agents, if you're uncomfortable having the conversation with your seller about the pricing, we will hop on the phone with them, with you there or without you there. It's up to you, but we'll hop on the phone with you. Or if you'd like to learn how to get more listings by reaching out to for sale by owners and telling them about this platform, one of the members of our team, when he first got licensed in his first year, got 15 listings by
Wow.
reaching out to for sale by owners, just pitching this program to them.
It's amazing. I mean, I love it. I was had the pleasure earlier of talking to Jerry. I think we need creativity in the market because we just don't have that traditional. It's hard to find the traditional buying scenario anymore, and so to have options and ways for people to do more business in a more competitive way is really cool. I love the concept of Home Sale Plus. I really do. And the website that's scrolling across the bottom, it is HomeSale.Plus. So don't go to HomeSalePlus.com. Go to HomeSale.Plus. I think it's super important for you to check it out. And of course, I want you to reach out to Steven for any questions on anything that he's talked about. Such great information. And I love that you share your story about your transition out of what you were doing into what you are doing. I think it's so important. A lot of people, it doesn't matter if you're transitioning from one career to real estate or to something else. It's important to see people who have done it and have been successful, or at least feeling positive about it, because it's a crazy little world out there, as we both know. All right, one last personal question before we head out. When I say the word hero to you, Stephen Sherbin, who is the first human being that comes to mind?
For me, it's my father.
Tell me what.
So my father might go a little too personal for some people, but my parents divorced when I was a year and a half. So I only got to see my father once every other weekend, and he had some friends that made some mistakes while he was in college. It ended up affecting him, preventing him from going to college. He was going to be a lawyer. And seeing how he is now, he definitely could have been, but that wasn't the path that life chose for him. So he worked his butt off. He was in sales for his entire life, whether it was restaurants or car dealerships or selling plates door by door, those traditional salesmen who just knock on your door and say, "Hey, have you thought about getting a new vacuum?" He was that guy at different times of his life. And he did all of that to make sure that I was supported and my mother was supported, that we could still have that life that I needed and that stability that I needed. So he worked his tail off his entire life. And just to see the level of success that he's had and to be that example for me, that's who my hero is.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Very important. I think we don't have an opportunity to recognize the people who have impacted us or our heroes. And so I always like to throw that one in there because it's so important to say it out loud, and to say it out loud to you, Stephen. You are an amazing human being. I love what you do. I love how you are. I love how you interact with people. And you're always trying to figure out the best way to help the people who are in your circle. So shout out to you and kudos to you. You all can find Stephen on social media. Lord, if you can't find Stephen on social media, you have your blinders on. You can also go to HomeSale.Plus to find out more. You can just reach out to him. And if you can't find him for whatever reason, I will get you to him. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Super excited for 2025. I think we've got some great things going on, and I'm excited for your journey to continue, my friend.
Thank you, Ted. I love you. You've been a fantastic friend to me ever since I got into this industry, and you've been a shining example of the kind of person that I want to be.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I love you too. All right, guys, reach out to Stephen. All my realtor friends, you want to know more. I know you do. So reach out to Stephen or get to me, and I will get you to him. You guys have a great one. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.